Hello and welcome to Virtual Vitality, Crowdsourcing for Resilience.
Alrighty, we're going to get our webcams going here so you can actually see us. So, hi, I'm Shanda. Hopefully you can see me up there at the top. And my lovely co-presenter today, Laniera Jones, is right there next to me. So, big wave to everybody out there in virtual land. Whenever we decided to do this discussion, we were like, well, what do we really want to do? And we've been in such a virtual world since March. We really thought this would be a good opportunity to ask the audience to really get some input from you guys. So before we get started with our discussion, I just want to introduce ourselves. You've probably heard from us before, but just in case you haven't, we want to make sure that we let you know who we are. So I'm Shanda Adams, and I have been on the TOC board. I think this is coming up on my 4th year. I serve in the capacity of the awards and scholarships chair, but I do many, many other things as well. So we are a volunteer organization, so we fill in where we're needed, where we can. We support each other along the way, and we really, really, really kind of make sure that we have a robust TOC community. In my day job, I'm in leadership development with my agency, so I'm a great supporter of virtual learning. I'm a real proponent for us, moving into this world, this technology basis that we're currently found ourselves really thrust into. So I had been working to bring a gradual switch to virtual learning in our organization, and as of March, we have been really hit with it. So it's coming quick. There's not a whole lot of change management around it. So I really feel wonderful about having the opportunity to discuss this with you today. Laniera?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Laniera Jones. I have been on the TOC board now for 5 years, I think. It's been such a long ride with TOC. I actually got involved with TOC way long time ago. I was brought in by Steve Dabrowski when we were working at the same agency. So it's been a long time involved with TOC. It's a great organization. I'm excited to be serving on the board and to have this conversation with you all today. I serve in the role of communications chair. I also work with recruitment, marketing, and retention. It's been an exciting journey with that role over the last several years. If you'll notice, TOC has expanded our social media base. We are now on all social media platforms except for Snapchat, so you can find us on Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook and engage with us there. If you're excited about social media and you have some tools that you'd like to practice, please feel free to reach out to me. I'd be happy to have additional volunteers help communicate with us through social media and to assist with our marketing. It's as you know, marketing is huge right now because we're all virtual and there's so many different events competing for our attention. So it'd be great to have different people available to work with us who are excited about marketing and have some tools that we can definitely leverage. As you know, TOC is a volunteer organization, so the more volunteers that we have who are able to support the mission and goals of TOC, the better. In my day job, I am the training officer for the Bureau of Economic Analysis. So help to manage all the workforce development initiatives across the agency, and of course we are virtual. So it's been an interesting journey. BEA is an agency where we have mostly economists, accountants, introverts, if you will. So they engage in different ways. So it's been a really great learning experience how to assist with that transition from that perspective. I'm excited to share what I've learned and some of my experiences with you today.
All right, great. Thanks so much. Now, because of bandwidth, we are going to actually turn off our videos, but we did want to, physically introduce
Your microphone has been turned on.
And we want to show that we are, wearing our lovely TOC executive board paraphernalia attire. So really making sure we are in the house. But we are going to close our cameras off right now, and so we can, like I said, save some of that bandwidth. We really want to hear from you guys. So let me stop my webcam there. All right. And we are going to go ahead and try something a little different now. So we are going to get started today with a little word cloud. The information you see on your screen right now, you can either go to menti.com and enter that code that you see there. And I'm going to ask that you guys use your smartphones. Hopefully you have your smartphones available. Ask that you use your smartphones because we don't want you to move away from this screen. If you do have dual screens and you can use dual screens, then great, but we definitely want you to have an opportunity to see what's going on. You can also open your camera and use that QR code that will open up the menti.com site. So we're going to move to the next layout now. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so we can see this word cloud as it happens. I hope everyone's getting logged into that opportunity there. And if you look on there, we would like you to know what you'd like to get out of today's discussion. So this word cloud is a little bit unique. You can enter a word and you can enter multiple words. So you enter a word into the little enter word box and you hit submit and you can enter as many times as you want. This is also a fun one because you can use emojis on this one. And the more times an emoji shows up, the bigger it gets. So we want to let this run for a few minutes. So I'm seeing we want to get some strategies, some engagement, some tips, tools, ideas. Great. Looking at, I love the little nerd emoji. So great. That's fun. You want something that's actionable. Strategies, engagement. I love to see that engagement there. That is so wonderful. This is a TOC community. Engagement and best practices are one of our big opportunities here within our community. Tips. Okay, we're going to give you some tips today. All right, it looks like we are kind of, I know, aren't those emojis hilarious? Those are fun. It's so fun to see them come up. Okay, so we're going to kind of move on. We are going to give you some tips. We're going to hear ideas. We're going to get some best practices. We're going to network. We're going to engage. Let's go ahead and go on with the rest of the presentation. So thank you guys so much for being interactive there. That was a fun little bit of interactivity there. We're going to ask for a lot of extra interactivity as we move forward because this whole discussion today, the entire presentation, is all about crowdsourcing. So we want to make sure that you guys are really involved with the discussion and help us to identify those tips, help us identify those best practices. In order to do that, we're going to have you use a lot of the chat feature there. We're going to have some polling, but we want to hear from you. We really want you to connect with each other, to connect with us. And as Mel said in the beginning, this is all being recorded, so there's a lot of opportunity for you to go back and research and look at these things. Whenever we think about crowdsourcing, we really think more about pulling information rather than pushing information. So a lot of discussions or a lot of presentations, the presenter is giving you the information. What Laniera and I plan to do today is tee up discussions. So we're really going to ask you to weigh in here and give some information and hints and tips. We want to hear about your experiences, and we want you to help share the information. So we also would like to help you build your community. So if you feel comfortable, as Mel said earlier, you can right-click on any of the participants and reach out to them specifically. You can share your contact information in the broad chat if you feel comfortable doing so. Just feel free to kind of mix and mingle as we move forward. Mel, I'm not sure we're going to use webcams anymore, so I don't know if you want to remove the video portion there. All right, give us a little bit bigger screen. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. We're going to jump into kind of a broad topic here, but one I just recently came across. It's a word called techno-stress. So I just want to ask a quick question and see if you guys can use that raise hand icon over there that's up at the top of your screen, and ask you how many of you were thrust into a new level of interactivity with technology since March. How many of you have experienced a new level of interactivity with technology? All right, I see lots of hands coming up. Yeah, I know that I have never been so technically wired, actually requiring technology as much as I have in the past few months. So thank you for sharing your experience there. There are a ton of things that have happened since March. We have had, I don't know about you guys, but how many of you have used multiple meeting apps? Zoom, Adobe Connect, Skype, WebEx, Google Teams, right? Check mark, check mark, check mark. Exactly. Well, all of these new technologies just in the meeting arena, these apps in the meeting arena can cause some anxiety, can cause some stress. So techno-stress, when you hear the word techno-stress, what do you think about? What comes to your mind when you hear the word techno-stress? Chris, this is your third platform today, exactly. So many platforms to learn. Steve's been a great help with that as my brother in Tampa, as well as my brother in Tampa. Thank you, Ellen, yes. I see another couple of people typing in techno-stress. What comes to mind? So many opportunities for stuff to go wrong. Absolutely, Cindy, absolutely. Keeping track of the incoming from various platforms. Yes, that's a big one. Emails, team chats, eye strain. Yeah, learning how to do things online. Perfect. Keep typing them in. Keep going in there.
You have been muted.
So as far as educational research goes, techno-stress is a modern, I'm putting this in air quotes, but a modern disease of adaptation caused by an inability to cope with new technologies in a healthy manner. So with that, I want to bring up a poll. We've kind of talked about what techno-stress means to us, but if we can bring in that first poll, Mel, and let's just see, there we go. How do you feel about technology in general? So you can select multiple here whenever you're talking about techno-stress. So what do you think about, is it an invasion? Is it an overload, a complexity, insecurity, or an uncertainty feeling that you get? Or multiples? I'm just going to broadcast those results so you can see them as they come in. Perfect. So while we're looking at that, let's talk a little bit about each one of these. So invasion, technology is taking over my life. It looks like several of you, 53.3% said yes, this is an invasion of my life with technology. Thanks to smartphones, high-speed internet, apps, etc., it's no wonder we get stressed, right? With all of these things bombarding us, overwhelming us. An overload. I can't keep up with all the tasks. So for an average individual, we get 121 emails daily. I'm certain that many of you get more than that now because we can't walk around and actually chat with our coworkers, right? 121 emails daily. That doesn't even count the IM notifications we often get. And it makes us feel overloaded or under fire. Complexity. This technology is too complicated. Every app comes with a, quote, helpful features, unique jargon,
Your microphone has been turned on.
and settings to navigate. So I keep hearing my microphone is coming back on, so I'm hoping that you guys can hear me. Number 4, the insecurity. If I can't understand all this technology, I'll be replaced, right? So most technology doesn't come with any training. We get things that come up. I know our Office 360. I know our Office 360 was just upgraded at work. And so, it was required a push upgrade. So whenever it was upgraded, all of a sudden my Outlook looks different, right? My trash can is in a different spot. I have to reset my reading panes. I have to go in, when I go in to set up a meeting, I can no longer see my scheduling assistant. It's moved to a different location. So it's like, okay, I just got used to this, and now all of a sudden, boom, this is a new set. It's all complicated. Uncertainty, what is this and how will technology support my work? It keeps advancing, it keeps moving, and it often causes a sense of instability or uncertainty about how we'll keep up or what we'll do, what our life will look like in the future. So it looks like for the majority of us, though, it's an invasion, right? It's a big invasion for us. So let's go ahead and end this poll. We'll move it off, and I want to ask you guys another question. What do you think, or what can you do about it? How can you mitigate this type of stress? So what techniques have you employed to help alleviate these feelings of techno stress? Exercise, great. Learning more about it. Yes, Deborah, perfect. Change your outlook. Focus on the advantages. I like it. Find some more sophisticated technology. Yes. Invest in learning. Attend webinars and continue to learn. Learning is a big aspect of this, isn't it? A lot of added advantage. Use the new tech. Really put it to use, right? Experiment. Love it. Trina, embracing that technology. I know I've been on some video calls with you, and you're embracing it well. Vent to colleagues and then carry on. Tech is like the fire and water around me. I can use fire to cook yummy stuff. Then if I use it unwisely, it can burn me. Perfect. Water I can drink, and then I can drown in it. The choice is mine. I love that. Thank you for that, Gabe. That's perfect. All right, well, let me just share really quickly with you. Now that you've shared with each other, let me share my top 3 things that I do to deal with techno stress. First off, I shut my computer, my work computer down at the end of my working day. I find that helps me to alleviate some of my techno stress, walk away from it. I stop all notifications, or I have stopped all notifications on both my computer and my phone. I don't get email notifications. I don't get any of my message notifications, and my phone is always on silent. So my husband often laments that he can never get a hold of me, and I said, well, when I have time, I will return your call. It doesn't go over well, but it works for me. And then lastly, I take on an aspect of no phone usage in the bedroom. So if my phone does charge on my bedside table, it will go off if there's an emergency. But once I'm in the bedroom, I feel like that is my relaxation space. That is my time to not be on an apparatus. Now, my husband will sit in bed and he'll read his emails or he'll read articles. That doesn't bother me because it's not my phone. But those are the 3 things that I would leave with you for how to deal with techno stress. And we're going to finalize this little subject, this topic area, with a quote from our own Ellen. And Ellen sent this in, and she's kind of mentioned it here in the chat, but she says to upgrade your equipment if you can afford it, and also consider purchasing some very handy and useful tools. She purchased a tripod with attachments for her iPad and iPhone, and they've been useful for her in providing excellent setup for her many hours of webinars and Zoom.
So those are some great strategies on dealing with techno stress. And speaking of techno stress, one of the stressors that we're experiencing more and more are our video cameras, and how we navigate that on camera, off camera, do you, don't you? Mel, can you drag in our next poll? Let's see how you all feel about video cameras. Shanda and I, you saw our lovely smiling faces at the beginning of today's session, but tell us how you feel about video cameras. Does it stare into your soul and drag you to outer space? Is it a friendly portal through which you can share your world to others? Are you the master of your camera and you'll only use it when you're ready? Or do you even know whether or not there's a camera on your computer? See the results coming in. It looks like a majority say that they are the master of their video camera and will only use it when they're ready. We have some more votes for the friendly portal. Okay. Well, we definitely appreciate you all sharing that. So if you were to Google Zoom zombies, probably in January, you may find an article or two about what it means. But now you Google Zoom zombie and you find so many articles, so much information about what it is and how to avoid becoming a Zoom zombie. You've probably had several meetings that you don't know whether or not you should be on camera, you should be off camera. You probably even find yourself more and more just being prepared for the day just in case you have to be on camera. Like this gentleman here, you might be business on top and relaxation and comfortability on the bottom. But our cameras have forced us to focus more intently on the conversation at hand. There's a Harvard Business Review article about Zoom fatigue, and they really talk about how when we used to meet in the office face-to-face, we could glance off into the corner or look at the various people around the circle, and our eyes would really shift, you know, as we're having this conversation. Someone may come in the room or knock on the door. It's just, it's a different environment. But now when we are on camera, you're staring at that tiny circle, trying to make sure that other people understand and know that you're paying attention and participating in the conversation, and you find your eyes getting a little bit tired, but of course you don't want to look around the room because then they may think that you're not participating actively in the conversation. You're also staring into 4 or 5 other people's worlds as you do it. You know, I had books in my background. Shanda has a nice fireplace in hers, but you're staring into other people's worlds and absorbing all the things they have in their backgrounds, while also considering all the stimuli in your environment. There might be someone trying to get your attention at home or a delivery coming that you can see from outside of your window. You might be outside yourself, and so you've got the birds chirping and all those things. So there's so much going on in our environment now that that perpetual gaze at the camera is becoming exhausting. And so there are strategies that we can put into practice to help us become better at using our cameras. Mel shared with us earlier on about her facilitating a meeting, and she asked everyone to just pause their cameras while they took a break. However, someone paused their camera in a very compromising position, and she had to turn the cameras off just because there's so many pieces that go into navigating that environment that you always wonder, you know, am I doing the right thing at the right time? And as a facilitator, as many of you are, I'm sure, you have to figure out how you control all of those pieces. So some of the things that you can do, and Steve shared this with us actually, to help with that camera overload, is think about putting in the meeting invitation whether or not the expectation is for people to be on camera. This sets the tone at the very beginning, letting people know if they should be on camera and how they should be prepared to be present and participate in the meeting. Also consider reducing the meetings. How many of us have gotten schedulers for a meeting that's an hour long and we only meet for 45 minutes, or that's 30 minutes long and we only meet for 15 minutes? In this new virtual world where everyone's vying for our business hours, consider shortening meetings by 5 or 10 minutes to give people a break between meetings, just to step away from the camera so they can take a walk around their house or step outside just for a moment to rest your eyes. Also, only hold essential meetings. There are meetings that we have that are sometimes unnecessary. We can resolve things over the phone or via email. So as you're looking at your calendar, consider, are there opportunities for you to shift your meetings to a phone call or an email? For yourself personally, to avoid that Zoom zombie look, avoid multitasking. We get caught in what we feel is the need to do various things while we're also participating in a meeting. But if you're focusing on the meeting alone, then you don't have that additional stimuli, the emails going, or reading additional information, processing inputs, chats from people, things like that. So try to avoid multitasking. Also, feel free to take breaks from looking at the camera. Look down, look around, just to rest your eyes a bit. And reduce other on-screen stimuli. Try to close all the other windows that you have open just so you can focus on the meeting. So I see a lot of great interaction in chat, and I really appreciate all the strategies that you all are sharing. So I encourage you to continue to share additional strategies around avoiding being on camera and getting that Zoom zombie look. Back over to you, Shanda. Thanks.
All right. So I was monitoring the chat there. Some really great information and some hints and tips on camera usage. I really do appreciate that whenever you are looking at using the camera, you put that in your invite so people know that, hey, we are going to be on camera during this time frame, so do get ready. Gary, I understand the mindset of constantly being prepared, and I do have a friend that does that because she is a consultant, kind of like you, Chris, who never knows when a client is going to ask them to speak with them on camera. Being a Fed worker, I have the I have the ability to know whether I'm going to have to be presenting that day or whether it's going to be a behind-the-scenes work day. And sometimes I enjoy just rolling out of bed and going and logging in. So being camera ready is all personal preference, but there is some great hints and tips coming in from our audience here on how to mitigate that current virtual reality. So let's talk move into a little bit about working from home. So telework isn't a new thing. We've been working from home on and off, before COVID. So, but the COVID environment has brought to us a completely different aspect to working at home. So using your hand raise or your check marks or however you'd like to respond, tell me a little bit about what or tell me a little bit about if you have multiple people in the home right now during the day. Okay, looks like we lost Shanda there. So Laniera, I don't know if you want to jump in.
Yeah, I was just about to say, so I see Jennifer talking about setting boundaries with her 6-year-old. So my nephew is, of course, doing virtual school, and throughout the day he has independent work times. Well, for him, that means he gets to move around the house. But actually, I wanted to share a story from over the summer when we didn't know what to do or how to keep him out of our hair while we were in virtual meetings. And he was actually sitting, working side by side with me. I had a quick speaking part during an executive staff meeting, and I told him, I prepped him, he was ready, he was doing his thing, I was doing mine, and I told him, I'll let you know when it's my turn to talk and I need complete silence. So he was ready. He was prepared for his silent moment. Unfortunately, I let him know too early before my speaking role began, and I told him I'm ready to speak, and I didn't talk for maybe about 30 seconds. In that 30-second period of time, you wouldn't believe that all of a sudden he had something to say to me. While I was talking, while I was giving my brief speaking presentation to the exec staff, he started talking, of course. So, everyone thought it was funny, and he actually even put his hand on my shoulder. He was outside of the camera view, but for some reason at that moment, he decided to get my attention. He needed to put his hand on my shoulder and talk. So they saw his hand, they heard his voice, and everyone was really gracious about it. They told me to tell him hi for me. So it was funny. We can laugh about it after the fact, but like Steve said, everyone is in the same boat. We're all dealing with it. And in fact, my nephew walked in while we were in a TOC meeting last week. So it happens. It happens to all of us, and what's been great about the situation is that people have been more forgiving with the full house that we're dealing with, even if you just have pets at home. I think I saw something about a pet bunny come up in chat. So cats, bunnies, animals, pets, our coworkers don't always walk on two legs. But we're all dealing with the distractions and other things that we have going on at home. So I'd like to, using chat, I'd like for you all to share actually some strategies that you have for working with a full house.
And while you guys are putting that in, I'm sorry, I lost connection. Lovely technology, right? Thank you, Laniera, for picking up. I would love to see someone's pet bunny, just to let you guys know. We have a great group on our team at work, and there's a couple of folks with pets. And when we're on camera, sometimes they'll bring their pets and put them in their laps, and I just absolutely adore seeing that. I see Jerry, I have teenage boys, and the wife makes them prepare as if they're going to school, the school uniform, shirt, and camera on. Oh, that's good. That's a good idea. Eileen doesn't have a full house. You have a quiet house, then. Everyone has their own workspace. That's really, really nice. Well, just as Laniera was sharing her story, I have a really quick story. My current coworker, and I put that in quotes, is my husband, and he's been home for most of the COVID as well, and he's gotten used to just coming in and chatting with me. Previously, I was on a video call presenting to an executive board, and he comes in fuming, behind me, just throwing his hands around and telling me that this chain store, the customer service at this chain store, is about as effective as a spoon in a knife fight. And I was like, I kind of turned around and looked at him, and he threw his hands over his mouth and was like, "Oh my gosh, are you on camera?" And I was like, "Yes, I am." So he quickly retreated. But you know what? This is an opportunity for us to have like a no apologies policy, right? Like Steve said, and I saw a few others say that, hey, we're all in the same boat, just let life be. You can make a couple of adjustments here and there, but life is life, and let's let that just happen, and give patience and grace to the option, or to the situation that we're in. This is just something that we will have to work with for a little while, and yes, we can be productive while working with our new set of coworkers. So I've seen a lot of great ideas coming up. No one can cook a major lunch. That's disruptive. I love that. Let's see, having your own workspaces really helps. Yes, it does. You needed to work your desk as people could see my son go up and down the stairs. They didn't care, but he did. That's so cute. Set up an office for our daughter. Very nice. And virtual learning. So a lot of us right now are not just working, but we're also teaching. So giving that opportunity for your children to have that virtual learning space is really important. Well, I'm going to close out this topic, and we'll move to our next topic and back to Laniera. Right, looks like Laniera may she may have lost her ability to speak. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about crossing the line when work feeds into personal time. So like I said, we have had an opportunity to work from home even before COVID, but as COVID has set in and we've had more work days at home than ever, we really do have this really opportunity for us to have work bleed into personal time. So I'm going to turn it over to Laniera. It looks like she's come back on, and so I'm going to turn it over to Laniera because she's really got a couple of great things to say about this.
Yeah, thanks, Shanda. So let's go ahead and pop in our next poll. Let's hear from you all. How do you identify the end of your workday? So we have a couple options here. Is it a full stop for you? Do you shut everything down and walk away? Do you have a soft end? Maybe you walk away when you feel like it or when your family needs you, and then you might go back. Are your devices glued to you? Does your workday have no end, or is it fuzzy? Does it depend on the day, the activity, your task, and priorities? Let's see what you all think. So I see some votes coming in. Looks like we have a decent split. Right, about 40% of our audience is a soft end, 30% is a bit fuzzy, and then 25% gives it a full stop. And then I see some chat as well. Taking mental breaks, not to work over lunch. Yes, definitely necessary to eat throughout the day. Full stop to refresh and spend time with your family. That's awesome. Take breaks throughout the day. I'll say personally that's been one of the best things for me. My organization has a flexible work schedule that I'm on that allows me to take mental breaks. So in prepping for maybe really heavy, big presentations, I can spend 30 minutes outside taking a walk before just to reset and get myself together. Or after the presentation, I can, disconnect for a while and come back. So I think a lot of us are dealing with some opportunities here that we might have to adjust our workday based on our needs. Every day can be different, and your day can change throughout as it goes on. So we may not know what our day has for us, but you have to be ready for anything at this point. So in dealing with that working from home situation, sometimes it can be a little hard to really draw the line between work and home. But it's necessary. It's absolutely necessary that we do draw that line. If you'll notice in the picture, you start off at work in the top left, and then you end doing something on your personal time. But there should be a separation between our work and our personal time. That helps keep us going sometimes. Sometimes that's exactly what we need to continue being motivated and productive. And some of you all shared some strategies that I think could definitely fit into this already, where you hold office hours. Maybe you discuss with your family the rules that indicate that you're at work. I saw Jerry say that the door closed indicates that you should not be bothered. There are small signs that you can make up to put on your door that say, you know, in a meeting, do not disturb, or when you want to work on something, we need to work on something that can't be disrupted. So figure out a system with your at-home coworkers, but also with your actual coworkers. Have conversations about when your work hours start, if you need to have set office hours, and how do you indicate that? Do you send them a message once you get online? Maybe you have an instant messenger where you can indicate that you're available. How do you do that? What system do you use to make sure that your coworkers, your actual coworkers, know that you're available and not just they don't just give you a call whenever maybe you need some personal time? So those are some things to consider. As well as what we've already talked about, everyone having a functional workspace. Everyone's workspace might look different in different areas of their home, but what does your functional workspace look like? If you define your workspace, then it's easier to define when you're actually at work. So carve out your workspace at home, have a set workspace, and when you walk away for the day, you have to have a personal understanding of what that means. Are you done? Is your day complete? Ignore distractions. We've taken to online shopping more and more nowadays, and I can see straight out the front of my house. So whenever delivery comes, I notice it. But I've made a personal practice of not picking it up unless it's raining until the end of my workday, unless I'm going to step outside, just to make sure that I don't get distracted by that new shiny thing that just came in the mail. Create boundaries for yourself and your coworkers, and don't overbook yourself. If you need to walk away, then walk away. Make sure that time is carved out in your calendar. So I see that there are some strategies. I see Chris said that he has a friend who wears a hat when he's working, so his kids know not to bother dad until he's taken off his hat. I think that's great. Kids need visual cues. As much as others, kids need visual cues sometimes just to understand what's going on and where they can fit in. So I see some great strategies that have been shared, and what I do want to share is a quote from our very own TOC board member, Eugene. He is our want to make sure I get this correct, our Metrics and Evaluations Chair, as well as our Strategic Partnerships and Vendor Relations Chair. He shared about fighting the temptation to succumb to isolation. Of course, when you're in the office and you're looking for an engagement, you might get up and walk around, go to someone's desk to have a conversation with them. But in the virtual world, he shared that he's tried to recreate that by scheduling regular virtual check-ins with his staff, as short as 5 or 10 minutes, not to micromanage, but to still have touch points that are critical for uncovering opportunities or issues where if he were to remain isolated, he might ignore them. So that's an opportunity that Eugene has created to continue engaging, but to also make sure that he's not crossing the line, maybe calling a staff member too late in the day when they may be off work. He schedules that time. So thank you all so much for sharing your strategies with me, and I'll turn it back over to Shanda. Nope, it's me. I'm sorry. So the last thing we wanted to close out with is that self-care. Our mental health is vitally important now that we are working from home. We don't have the commute maybe to clear our minds or to center ourselves for work. We really can't get away from our families. So we wanted to just open this up and really close out with some self-care strategies that you all are using to manage your mental health with everything going on. We have a lot of inputs. And so there has to be some release. So we're curious what you all are doing to manage your self-care, and not just in general, but what have you done this week? So share something you've done this week to manage your self-care. For me personally, now that the weather is much cooler, I've taken back to bike riding with my nephew in the afternoon, so it's been really nice. I see that Trina walks in the evening and also takes bubble baths. Colleen has a smartwatch to remind her to move, get up, and be intentional about that, meditating and walking. Day 16 of a 30-day yoga challenge. Go, Chris, you can do this. Going to bed early. Yes, Ellen, that's been a challenge for me for sure. Taking a walk. Oh, Steve got a new aquarium. Nice. Very nice. Michelle play with her toy poodle and sit on the deck in the evening. Colleen, yes, the additional time with family is definitely to be valued. Jerry, I'm glad that you were able to put your midday nap on hold to join us today. Nice, Gary. He hooked up his speakers to create a dance club in his living room. So there are some great strategies that you all have shared in chat about taking care of yourself. And it's important that you focus on that every day, not just because we're talking about it today, but your mental health is vitally important. It will help you stay on point with work, in your interactions with your in-person coworkers and virtual coworkers as well. But it certainly helps keep us motivated. It helps with our passion and our drive to be able to do other things. It's all about balance. So while we're in this environment where maybe we physically don't have a separation between work and home, mentally it's important to maintain that separation to protect our mental health. We all want to be the best for everyone that we have in our lives, the people that we love, and the best way to do that is to protect your mental health. I'll share another quote from one of our other wonderful board members, Claire Goodwich, who is our annual institute chair. She shares that she takes a morning walk every day and listens to a book. Sometimes it's a trashy novel, historical novel, sometimes self-improvement, but every day she walks and listens. She does so much reading for work that she doesn't really like to do it for pleasure, so listening helps her keep up with new books, but it doesn't stress her mind. So that's one of her self-care strategies.
I'm just loving reading everything that's coming into the chat. I so appreciate you guys sharing the ways that you can have some self-care and mitigate that strong desire to be connected virtually. Loving this. All right, guys, we've spent almost our hour here walking through some opportunities for you to really connect, to crowdsource information, to learn and commiserate with each other. I hope that this has brought you guys a little bit of information like we saw in the cloud before, I hope you've gotten some tips. I hope that you have felt engaged. I really hope that that you have been able to connect. All those things that you wanted to get out of this discussion today, I really hope that this has made a difference for you. Laniera and we were really enjoyed putting this together and bringing this opportunity to open up this type of discussion. For the last few minutes, I'm going to turn it back over to Mel with some final housekeeping things for us.